be going over Willow's newest pump, the Generation 3 or the 3.0. If you are familiar with Willow, they have two previous models, the Gen 1 and the Gen 2. I'm just going to jump right into it. If you were hoping with the Gen 3 that they were going to be changing the profile of the pump or its appearance, it didn't happen. So all of the changes that Willow made to the Generation 3 are inside the pump. The exterior, as you can see, if you're familiar with the previous models, is identical. The only thing that I think maybe they may have changed is the material on the outside now looks ribbed instead of smooth. I'm not sure. But besides that, aesthetically, it's pretty much the same. Now inside, Willow is promising a better suction, 20% more milk, and a few other things. And right off of the bat, I do not have experience with the Willow Gen 1 or the Gen 2. So I'm coming to the Gen 3 from the LV pump. So I will do a separate video on a comparison between the LV pump and the Willow Gen 3. So this is just going to be an overview and my review of using the 3.0 on its own. So again, to start off, the profile, it's large. I will say that when this is in, I think that if you're anything above a C cup, this is going to be extremely noticeable regardless of what you wear. If it's a flowy top, it's gonna show. If you're wearing like a form-fitting top, it's definitely gonna show. So modesty is not its greatest strength, but I will say that everything else about this pump far outweighs that, and I will gladly take any bizarre stares that I get because of what it does for me. So again, coming from the LV pump, I was really looking for something that was going to have better results with emptying me. I just haven't been able to duplicate what I get with my Modelo Sonata or my Spectra S2 with one of these kind of like wearable pumps, including the Freemie cups. So with a toddler running around and a newborn, these have been a lifesaver. I've begun to exclusively pump for my 3-month-old, which made these that much more dire. So I basically did it all. I spent the last week really putting these things through the ringer. I went for walks around the neighborhood in them. I did an at-home yoga workout. I got my hair done, including getting cut, shampooed, colored. I took a little snooze on the couch with them in. Truthfully, I don't think that there's really much in my daily life that I haven't done in the past week with these pumps, all to with amazing success. Now with the Gen 3, and actually a little bit before, it was maybe 6 months ago, they launched the reusable containers so that you're not forced to use Willow's bags. It is an expense. I personally use the Kind system for storing my breast milk and feeding it to my son, so I don't really have a need for the Willow storage bags. With that being said, I did find that having the freedom to be completely not cognizant of whether milk was going to spill was a huge relief. There were definitely times where I knew I was going to be really active around the house, loading the dishwasher, running after a toddler, where the bags, I just didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to worry about doing my little like ballet squat that I normally do when I'm wearing one of these kinds of pumps. So that was a huge relief. It was a bit of a learning curve for the bags though. I find the reusable containers to be a lot faster to get on and off and finish my pump with. So I've only used the bags a couple of times, but it works well. One of the things I love is the limited amount of actual pieces to the Willow pump. So there's the actual hub itself, and then this is the reusable container. So this part right here is what they call the flex tube, which you do use with the bag system as well. So that part goes back and forth regardless. These pieces right here are just for the reusable container. So it has the flange itself. Suction is good. that clicks in, and then it has like the valve and everything up here. So one of the things that I was really nervous about with the Willow pump was how you finish. So with other pumps, it drips into a bottle, you unscrew the bottle and you're good to go. With the Willow, there's a technique called a flip to finish. And I was a little bit nervous to do that because I had heard and seen countless reviews from people that they have spilt milk while doing so. And any breastfeeding mama knows that spilt milk is worth crying over. So I was a little nervous about that. I will say I spilt some milk, which I was sad about, but it only happened a couple of times and it wasn't a ton. So the flip to finish, I'll show you. When you're done pumping, there's a couple of things that you do. The first thing is that you bend over, you release the suction, and Willow knows. It like the motor inside starts to collect whatever was inside of the flange. So once you've leaned over and done that, you switch this little thing over to the number 2 here, and it closes a vent hole that's there. Once that's done, the flip to finish is exactly what it sounds like. You literally, it does a total of 8 pumps. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it. And what that's doing is it's taking whatever milk was left in the flange, getting it inside of the flex tube, and putting it inside the container. So I didn't have any issues with that. I mean, again, it took me a couple of times to kind of figure out my timing on it, but after that, I haven't had any issues. So I really like it. They're easy to clean and it's really fast to put on. The way that these connect is via magnets. So if you're somebody who likes to align everything prior to putting the device together, which is what they recommend in the beginning when you're still learning, it's extremely easy because it's one hub and it's magnetic. So I find that to be a lot simpler than Willow's competitor, the LV. And again, I'll do a full comparison and a side-by-side on a separate video for those two. So the only issue that I had with the Willow Gen 3 was it kind of went a little crazy on me one time. I did my flip to finish and the pump just kept pumping. Like there was no suction. So it was just the pump doing the flip to finish motorization and it just didn't stop. I kind of didn't know what to do because I couldn't turn the pump off. I obviously couldn't detach it because it was pumping. And I recall from like a Facebook group that I am in that Willow has great customer service. So I got on the app, clicked on the 800 number. I was speaking to somebody within a matter of a couple of minutes, and this was on a Saturday afternoon. And they were able to help me right away. To share with you guys, on the very bottom underneath the charging port, there's this little paperclip size pinhole, which is a reset button. Very similar if you remember like how you used to pop SIM cards out of cell phones. It's the same kind of action. So I just took a paperclip, put it in there, and the pump reset, and I didn't have any issues. I will say that there was an update for the pump that I hadn't done, that I had like told it to do later, that I guess I probably should have done ahead of time. But since then, I haven't had any issues with it. So even when something did go wrong, I was pretty blown away at their customer service to get it done. And that's really the only cons that I have about this pump. Again, I'm really surprised at how well it works. The suction is definitely stronger than its competitor, the LV. But for me, that works. I wouldn't consider it to be painful, but it's definitely stronger. And I get the same output, if not more, than I get with my Medela Sonata, which is my main pump and is rated as a hospital grade pump. So I was really excited about that. The only thing is it takes a little bit longer. With my Medela Sonata, I usually only pump for 25 to 30 minutes. With the with the Willow Gen 3, I typically pump anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes just to really make sure that it's emptying me so that I don't get any clogged ducts and, heaven forbid, mastitis. So yeah, I'm pretty blown away at the Willow Gen 3. They did an amazing job on this pump. Again, I can't speak to what the comparison between this and the 2.0. All I know is that this pump is worth every single penny. I was able to use my FSA account because it is a medical device, so it wasn't much of an out-of-pocket for me, but I can see how the price point could be a deterrent for some people. And they do offer affirm payments, which I think the longest one makes the payments out to like $53 a month. So that's a lot more doable for some people. I honestly can't recommend this pump enough. I was really shocked at how much I loved it. I was kind of had pretty low expectations coming from the LV that this just wasn't going to work, and was blown away. So my honest opinion, the Willow Gen 3, totally worth it.